Now that you have your information set up in Travel Tracker routing system, it can be very advantageous to add your school administrators to have view-only access into the information. This will allow them to do things like look up a student and see what their bus schedule is, or print a bus roster or a schedule of students across their school and which bus they're supposed to load. Very helpful at the beginning of the year. It can really reduce those phone calls from school administrators to you. And so let me show you how to do this, but before you actually set this up in your system, attached to this task is also a sample email that you probably will want to send something like that to your school administrators, introducing them to the Travel Tracker routing system, letting them know that they will get an email, registering them on the system, and then giving them some information. So you'll probably want to do that as your first step. So you'll find that attached to this implementation task, a sample email that you can use to send out. So once you've done that, I'll show you how you can set this up in the system. You'll start this by going to the profile icon. This is where all your settings are, and we're going to click on the profile icon, and we are going to go to the roles area. And when we get in here, you'll see that there are actually some standard roles. You'll see them with a lock next to them, and that we can click on Add. So we're going to click Add. You can take this two ways. You could just create a generic school administrator role and not restrict them to any schools and hit save. We could also add one that's very specific to the school. So if we were to do, say, Blue Moon Elementary Admin, which is one of our schools, and we simply click on the checkbox for Blue Moon, then that would restrict this user to only the students, the routes, the bus information at Blue Moon Elementary. Now that's a little bit more work, but it does restrict the users a little bit more. So I'll just simply save that. Now this only has to be done once. Once you've got your administrator roles set up, then you don't have to adjust that again. But let me show you how you can adjust what the users can see. So if we go into the security settings, this is where we can indicate what the roles can do. By default, when we go into the roles, you'll see if I click on the Blue Moon Administrator, this shows each area. For example, the administrator, security, you can see they have no access here. As we scroll down into this, you'll see that they, by default, a new role will have very restrictive access to just view only for student, schools, stops, vehicles, and routes. Now you can certainly add, if you had a specific person that you wanted to give the ability to do some changing, you could, but by default those school administrators, most likely you would not want to do that. So you really don't have to do anything here unless you want to give them more than just the very minimum adjustment. So if you have made any changes, you can simply hit save. And so next, this is where if you have new users or you add those initial school administrator users, you're simply going to go into the user area. You're going to click to add, and let's say we have Susan Smith, and we're just going to put her first, last name, her email, and optionally the phone number. Now once you do this, you're just going to simply select the role. So this, if you wanted this person to be restricted to Blue Moon Administrator, you could select that, or you could select the generic school administrator. Notice that this says that a temporary password will be sent to this email when the account is created. So when I hit save, this user is automatically going to get an email indicating that they've been registered for the Travel Tracker routing, and it's going to ask them to reset their password. And this is the reason I really suggest that you send an email out to your school administrators before you do this, so that they won't think that that's spam, or they won't know what that is. So you want to make sure you have done that before you do this last step of creating the users. So certainly you could go out and create the roles and check the security, and then wait to create the users until after you've notified these folks of what you're doing. So anyway, we just hit save here, and that sets up the school administrators. It's that easy to do to set up your school administrators, so feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions or need assistance in getting this set up. Thank you.